Hello, hello, hello. I'm HoJo.
And I'm Hunnsy.
And welcome to this, the 42nd episode of HoJo and Hunnsy's Hard Rock House, the safe space for old rock gummies just like us, where life is loud, except if we're recording on a Saturday morning when Mrs. Hunns is in bed, and it's very, very quiet. Did you get away with it?
Yeah, I got away with it. She mentioned that she was aware of things going on while she was trying to sleep. But a cup of tea always solves any kind of argument in our house.
Okay, right, that's good.
She's upstairs working at the minute, so she might...
Are we not allowed to be loud when she's working now?
No. She's concentrating, man.
Oh, my God. When are we ever going to be able to talk normally again?
When we've got enough money to build our own studio somewhere and we travel to it.
When do you think that's going to be?
Oh, I don't know. I think we might be dead by then. So.
Highly likely.
Yeah, we plough on in our unsophisticated amateur style. It's reflective of some of the music that we listen to, isn't it, really?
What, loud and stupid? Oh, no, quiet and stupid.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
What have you been up to this week?
Just as we're recording, I've seen today, obviously when this goes out...
It'll be old news. It'll be yesterday's news today.
Yeah.
Like the Metro paper in London.
Yeah. The sad passing of Roy Thomas Baker today.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I was slightly less sad, and this is terribly selfish of me, but I tried to get him to do an interview for Rock Candy magazine, and he never replied, so, you know.
Well, maybe he was poorly.
I'm just saying.
We had Danny Malone on, and he talked about his, shall we say, difficult relationship with Roy Thomas Baker.
Yeah. Has Danny put the hoodoo on him?
I don't know. Danny hasn't been in touch. Doubt Danny will be at the funeral, do you?
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get the invite.
No.
What was your favourite Roy Thomas Baker production?
Pick any of the Queen albums, I guess. You could.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Queen, though.
No, where would you go?
Journey. Which one was it, though? I can't remember.
I can't remember which one he did.
Whatever the one he did, it was really good.
Yeah. Like any of these people who sadly pass away in our genre of music, they leave us a legacy that we're content with. You know,
that forever lives on in the grooves. Isn't that what you're supposed to say? He sounds like a football player, though, doesn't he now, Roy Thomas Baker? Because have you noticed this? There's an epidemic in British football, isn't there, of young players with double-barrel surnames. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Arsenal.
Alex
Oxlade-Chamberlain.
This is going to go down really well with all our heavy metal fans, isn't it? We're trying to pick
and the single-digit listeners in America.
We're trying to name English footballers with double-barreled names.
I don't really care, though. We've established our non-reputation on doing whatever the fuck we want. We must continue.
Yeah, well, we didn't get any negative feedback on what our favourite bus route was in London, so, you know.
Or what about the Stuffed Animal Museum?
We got some positive feedback on that. There was someone on our Facebook group messaged that they, too, used to go to the Stuffed Animal Museum in Tring.
Stoned or not stoned?
They didn't mention that bit. And obviously, we've got another reference to it in episode 41.
And you'll now realise episode 42 as well.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the idea. You know that they used to do, footballers, we're back to footballers, when they used to get bored and give interviews afterwards, and they used to have to get names of songs into their interviews. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
We could do that, but we have to get the Stuffed Animal Museum at Tring into every episode of the pod.
What, to replace Motley Crue?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you and I form a group called Stuffed Animal Museum? I could see us opening for Sleep Token, couldn't you? That's on a poster, isn't it? Sleep Token plus Stuffed Animal Museum.
Yeah. And we could do our showcase in the Stuffed Animal Museum in Tring.
We'll already have a deal by then, Hunnsy.
Yeah,
we won't need to do a showcase. We'd do an intimate evening, wouldn't we? We wouldn't have to do a showcase because we'd be signed. ZZ Top did it in 1970, didn't they? Taking Texas to the People. They used to have a load of animals on stage with them.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Do you not remember? They used to have a rattlesnake with them and all sorts.
I don't remember that. What I was going to suggest was, if we were to do this, what stuffed animal do you think would be the perfect representation?
Well, I think it's that tremendous leopard that was on the back of the Hanoi Rocks album sleeve that we talked about a few weeks ago. Do you remember?
Yeah, we'd have to have that, wouldn't we? Yeah, definitely.
It's really shit.
And it sort of reminds me of a thing that we haven't really talked about. Mascots that end up being turned into giant puppets that end up on stage with heavy metal bands.
Oh, I see what you mean. So like Denzel the Dragon for Dio.
Yeah, and then there was obviously the one that everybody knows is Eddie with Iron Maiden, right?
Eddie the Ed, yeah. And then Sammy the Scorpion. I don't know if he was called Sammy. I just made that up.
But Y&T had that robot thing.
Yeah, it was terrible, wasn't it? It was like a real Primark version of Eddie the Ed.
It was a sort of Primark, Aldi / Lidl version of Transformers.
Yes, that's exactly right.
What was it called? Was it just called Rock?
It might have been.
that thing that Y&T did with Rock, whatever he was called.
Yeah, whatever his name was.
It really jarred with me because I never saw them as a gimmicky band, Y&T. For me, they were just 2 guitars, bass, drums, a stack of Marshalls, put their logo on a bit of a cloth behind the drum kit, and off you go.
I always really didn't like it. I didn't like any of them. Don't like Eddie the Head. Even though I fought with Eddie the Head live on stage.
Tell us more.
When I used to work for Iron Maiden, part of the deal was, what was that song they had? Heaven Can Wait, was it? When they had that bit in the middle. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Something like that.
Yeah,
was that Heaven Can Wait? They used to get all the members of the crew or management who were there, which included me, to be side stage. And when there was a whoa, whoa, whoa bit, you had to run on and give it a large amount of whoa, whoa, whoa in Steve Harris's mic.
Right.
And obviously Eddie was already there, and sometimes you'd have a little fight with him.
Was this during the song Iron Maiden? Because he generally comes out.
I can't remember. Maybe Eddie wasn't there. Maybe I've just conflated 2 different things.
What year was this then?
91.
So when you say you used to sort of fight with Eddie, did you have any kind of weapon? Or
no? Well, it was a pretend fight, really, obviously, because he was slightly unstable because he was on stilts.
Was it the same person inside the Eddie costume for many years, or did they sort of change it around? Or
if I remember rightly, this could be a false memory. I seem to remember it was their roadie who was called Rangy. He was a Kiwi guy.
And he didn't mind doing it?
Well, no. Hey, it's in the contract.
I remember seeing them on the Killers tour.
It used to just be a mask, didn't it? It used to be a man in a mask.
A couple of people jumped on the back line of the Marshalls at the back dressed in a devil's outfit.
Yes, I remember that.
There was rumours around that one of those people was Rod.
Don't know. I haven't heard the rumour. It'd be great if it was, though, wouldn't it?
It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
I think he was lithe enough to do that.
He would have been at the time. It was like 43 years ago.
I know, but Rod was never young.
He would have only been in his 30s.
Yeah, he was never young, though.
I've never asked him that. And
you've got to ask him next time you see him.
Yeah, no.
You know what he'll say, don't you?
You're so bloody stupid. Yeah, so Denzel the Dragon, Rock from Y&T,
Sammy the Scorpion,
Eddie the Head. Are there any others?
Did you like it, seriously, when we first started getting into rock?
Yes.
That was a thing, wasn't it? That everyone had to have a stage set. But when you think about it, it wasn't that big, was it? Because they were playing theatres. And so all these stage shows had to fit into a theatre-sized venue. And that's why they always looked like something off Blue Peter, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were terrible. I hated all that. You know, they used to things like castle ramparts where singers could go across the back and all stuff like that. I always just thought, this is fucking useless. This is like kids stuff. It's like play school. And you'd be slightly embarrassed for your 7-year-old going, oh, that stage scenery there, it's a bit wobbly, isn't it?
Because the venues weren't very big, if you had a decent ticket, 10 or 15 rows in the front, you could see the gaffer tape that was holding, and you could see all the shit painting that had gone.
How dreadful it all was.
Because they'd probably just got the crew to just knock it up, hadn't they?
Yeah.
Can you knock us up some castle ramparts?
But even the better one, Motorhead's Bomber, was probably the best of them, wasn't it? You know, because it was a lighting rig that was designed to look like a bomb. It still looked a bit rickety, didn't it? But it was a lot better than the wobbly castle ramparts.
Yeah, got stolen from Newcastle City Hall.
How did they steal that?
I don't know. It just got nicked.
Got in there, flew it off, pilot's license.
The only one for me that resonated at the time was just the simple, plain black curtain that Rob Halford came through on his motorbike.
I thought the motorbike that Judas Priest used was possibly the shittest of all. It was so shit, because obviously you couldn't let the clutch out, could you? Because you would have fired off the stage. They used to make a load of noise, and then it would like just wheel on at like 2 miles an hour. It was ridiculous.
Just brilliant, brilliant heavy metal. And I saw Les Binks passed away as well.
Yeah, he's gone. Do you remember what they used to call him? They won't call him it now.
What, Les Binks?
Yeah, it was Les Feather Touch Binks. I mean, they're not saying anything about him now, are they? God bless him.
Oh, Feather Touch. I've never heard
that's harsh, isn't it?
That is harsh.
Harsh for the Binkster.
Dave Holland passed away, didn't he? We don't talk about Dave.
No, you can't talk about him.
2 drummers gone.
You want to be careful. That's the exploding drum stool, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they want to be careful. They've got a habit of losing drummers.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, shall we move along swiftly? We've done a lot of laughing. 2 people have died. We shouldn't be laughing. Terrible. Let's get into some rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
Hunnsy, you said before we came on air that you'd spent all morning listening to this album.
I
So
have.
I'm assuming that was a fun morning, not a terrible morning. So what is it?
I think this might be a first.
Oh,
for the pod. 42 episodes in, and this might be the first thrash album that we've chosen.
I don't think it is. Because actually, that's related to what I'm going to say later, but we'll hold that thought for now.
Which thrash album do you think we've already talked about?
I'll tell you in a bit.
Don't say Pantera.
Did we talk about Pantera? We talked about Pantera. I don't know if we talked about a Pantera album. Did we talk about Vulgar Display of Power?
We did.
We might have done. You don't think that's thrash?
No, it's true.
What would you call them then?
I don't know.
Groove metal?
So I've been listening to, I think it's the definitive thrash album, and I also think it's probably their definitive album as well.
Is it Justice for All by Metallica? Ross Halfin, the photographer, once said the best thing that I ever heard about Justice for All. Do you remember the song?
Yeah.
It's just interminable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on. And Halfin said, justice is this, justice is that, justice is 9.5 minutes long. That was a terrible song.
Yeah. I checked out on that record.
What is the thrash album you've been listening to?
Ride the Lightning.
By Metallica.
Yeah, second album.
Yeah.
1985.
First album that I appreciated of Metallica's.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I like Kill 'Em All.
I didn't even listen to it because I looked at them and went, oh, spotty oinks.
Was this during your AOR period?
83, yeah, probably. Prior to the cult coming into my life.
Yeah.
And very much still Wimpem. Still thinking that Keep On Loving You and Babe were the height of hard rock.
You look at Metallica on Kill 'Em All, they're not wearing pale blue satin jackets with the sleeves rolled up, right?
More's the pity.
You're going to look at them and go, no.
To be fair, Ride the Lightning comes along, I was converted.
Why?
I know exactly why.
Go on then.
I was reviewing the singles in Kerrang,
Yeah.
and the 12-inch of Creeping Death was in the pile of records. And I remember looking at it and I was thinking, oh, this is going to be an absolute pile of garbage, because at this point I really didn't like thrash.
Yeah.
And then I put it on the death deck in the Kerrang office and Crusher started hitting the cowbell, as he frequently did when something pleased. In the twinkling of a chord,
Yeah.
I was converted.
Wow.
Creeping Death, I just went, this is by far the best song of the week.
I think it's one of the best thrash songs ever.
So I did right there by deciding that was a worthy winner of Single of the Week in Kerrang.
Absolutely. It's a phenomenal record from start to finish. Don't get me wrong, I loved Master of Puppets, but it just was a bit too clean for me.
You're like the classic old rock fan from Britain from 1978. First two albums only. Do you remember when people were trying to get a band together? A guitarist required, influences, early quote.
But yeah, Ride the Lightning is just an epic album.
It's the first song, Fight Fire with Fire.
Yeah.
Not the best, I would say.
Oh, no, it's brilliant.
Oh,
Ride the Lightning,
very good.
For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Very good.
And then side one ends with Fade to Black, which was a complete shift for them. They're maturing, right? But,
I knew Lars at that time. He definitely wasn't maturing. His music might have been.
And then side two, Trapped Under Ice, brilliant.
I see a Trapped Under Ice. Maybe it's because the faster ones are not the ones that really appeal to me.
You know?
But I think that's what made me love that album, actually, was the fact that I suddenly realised that all bands that were called thrash didn't just go absolutely ballistic from first to last.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, the two songs on that album that the fastest, Fight Fire with Fire is pretty fast. What was the one you mentioned opening side two?
Trapped Under Ice.
Trapped Under Ice. I think those are probably two of the fastest songs, aren't they? And they're the two songs I think are the least interesting.
Interesting. So you don't like fast thrash?
No, I like slow thrash.
You like everything about thrash, apart from when it's too thrashy.
Yeah. But it's funny, isn't it? Because loads of those thrash bands don't just play super fast music.
No. A lot of them do, though.
A lot of them do, and I think they're probably the ones that I don't like as much.
Okay.
It's a great record. I mean, there's no denying it that changed the game, didn't it? Because it suddenly made rock music youthful again. That's what I think was the big thing. I'm not saying that the guys in Journey and Styx were pensionable. For the time, it felt like guys in their mid to late 30s were old, didn't it?
The whole thrash scene was born out of bands playing in tiny little venues and garages.
It was grown out of the fact that actually all the popular bands had left all that behind, and it felt very remote and very rock starry. All your Deep Purples and your Led Zeppelins and all that were living in their mansions and playing Nebworth, and nobody was really playing small clubs and keeping it real, man. That's what drove that whole new style of rock because punk certainly influenced the new wave of British heavy metal. And the new wave of British heavy metal influenced the American thrash scene. So really, most of that music came out of a desire to be energetic and youthful and not remote and not living in an ivory tower. And much as those bands loved the music of Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, they didn't really go for the attitude, did they?
No.
And that's kind of where Motorhead bridged a gap, didn't it? It was very anti-rock star. It was, I'm no better than you. I dress the same as you. I drink out of the same pint pot as you. I smoke the same fags as you.
Yeah.
I haven't got a fucking pot to piss in like you. And it was nothing like Robert Plant and Jimmy Page buying Boleskine Manor up in Scotland and living like lords of the manor, like the Stones were doing, and private jets and Purple and all that. It was just a whole different thing. For me, that's where the music drew its power and its energy. Because structurally, the songs on Ride the Lightning are more in the vein of a Led Zeppelin and a Deep Purple than it was in the vein of a punk band like GBH or whatever. I mean, they might argue that that's not true, but I think structurally a lot of their songs were much more like classic rock than punk.
Absolutely. But
they did do that kind of punk stuff, and they did like that kind of punk stuff. But it was a game-changing record, no doubt about that. Are you saying it never got any better?
I think Master of Puppets was a phenomenal record as well.
What about the Black Album?
No, that's just too commercial.
Really? You don't like it?
No, I like it, but it's not the Metallica that I fell in love with. The Metallica I fell in love with are all the reasons that you've just described.
Yeah, and I understand that. I personally think the Black Album's a better record.
But it's a record that was made by a band
who were already very famous and very successful and rich and all the rest of it, yeah.
And it was 10 years after Ride the Lightning. When did the Black Album come out with?
91.
They'd clearly grown up. They'd got more money. They could afford Bob Rock. So it was natural that was going to happen. You know, this album sounded like a band who just still had all that spunk and energy in them.
It captures that young excitement really, really well. I saw them hundreds of times at that period.
Yeah.
And then I haven't seen them in, oh God, maybe 30 years. I was ignored by Lars when I was last in his presence.
When was that?
Oh gosh, 15, 20 years ago.
Why did he ignore you?
I have no idea. But he looked over and clearly knew who I was. I'd spent enough time in his company and totally blanked me. He was too big in the biz.
That's a shame.
Well, I didn't really mind. I thought, oh well, fuck him.
Can't get him on then.
Can't get him on.
Oh well, never mind. It was the Master of Puppets tour. It's definitely in my top 5 gigs of all time. At Newcastle Mayfair, I saw Metallica supported by Anthrax. It was one of Cliff Burton's last gigs, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was only about 3 or 4 shows after that when they went to Sweden and tragic accident happened. That show that night, man. I mean, Anthrax were just unbelievable.
I always liked Anthrax more than Metallica. Not necessarily for the music, for the people.
Oh, you love the boys from Anthrax.
Oh, man, they were such good people.
And they're your friends, aren't they?
Well, I know them a little bit.
They're your friends. Who's your favourite member of Anthrax?
Charlie Benante. I've stayed in touch with Charlie and Scott. I haven't really stayed in touch with anybody else. Charlie and Scott are both great fellas.
So you're not a friend of Lars Ulrich?
Not a friend of Lars, no.
No, but you do like this record?
I do, very much. Isn't that even-handed of me? I fell out with Lars once when he complained after I did an interview with him that I'd said I was drinking while I did the interview. I went, fucking hell, alcoholica? What the fuck?
Were you hauled up in front of HR?
No, I don't think so. I think they said, what's he fucking on about? But that's a true story. Let's not get into my beef with Lars. Let's just say what a great record Ride the Lightning is.
Yeah. Still to this day, it is the album that makes you go, yep, that's thrash metal. That is.
I'm going to try and argue with you now.
Okay.
Because there's something in the air today, Hunnsy. Should I tell you what I've been listening to?
Oh my God, is it a thrash band?
Unbelievable. The single-digit listener will not believe that this hasn't been planned.
We never tell each other what we've been listening to.
You'll never guess what it is.
Okay.
2003.
Yeah.
If I tell you the title, you might not even know who the band is.
Yeah, go on.
We've Come For You All.
We've Come For You All. It's Anthrax, isn't it?
It's Anthrax.
You've already reviewed an Anthrax album on this pod?
But not this one.
Why are you doing another Anthrax album?
Why aren't I allowed to? Is there a law that says I can't choose another Anthrax album?
I am the law. Of course you can. It's your pod. I'm going to hold my hand up. I am not aware of this record.
And this is the problem. with the Anthrax John Bush period, when John Bush replaced Joe Belladonna. It was all in a very difficult time for rock generally through the 90s, wasn't it? Grunge had killed everything, as we know. Anthrax had gone through a bit of a career dip, and Joey Belladonna left, who was clearly known as the voice of Anthrax, seen as the voice of Anthrax. And in comes John Bush, who I have to say, my favourite thrash metal vocalist.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
By quite a distance, actually.
Yeah. When you say thrash metal vocalist...
That's the argument, is it? Is he really thrash, or is he kind of more classic rock? I don't know.
Are you saying that Armoured Saint were thrash metal?
Armoured Donut.
Why are they called Armoured Donut?
Because Phil Alexander once in the Kerrang office just went, oh, fucking Armoured Saint, Armoured Donut, more like.
Right, okay.
It just stuck.
Because Armoured Donut were just a heavy metal band.
There's a lot of argument about that, isn't there? Whether they were thrash or whether they were just...
They were thrash.
I don't really care.
John Bush, undeniable vocalist.
And here's my argument, right? Much as I love Joe Belladonna, without tooting my own horn too much, I was the first person to write about Anthrax in Kerrang. So I can take some credit for introducing them to the UK Gumbies. So it wasn't I didn't like Anthrax. I loved Anthrax in those early days. But as an older man, that trio of 3 albums, Stomp 442, Volume 8, and We've Come For You All, which I think are the 3 that he did.
Didn't he do Sound of White Noise?
I don't know now. Now you've got me thinking. So he did 4 albums.
Yeah.
So my bad. But anyway, this one, which I believe was the last one he did with them, the last studio album that John Bush did with them, We've Come For You All, it really crept under the radar. You know, it was in a time when that kind of thrash metal scene was on its arse for a lot of bands. In the Wikipedia entry, it says the album reached number 122 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 10,000 copies.
Wow.
It's not a lot, is it? Anyway, I don't care about that because I think it's an absolute fucking undiscovered classic.
Okay.
I was listening today while I was pounding out the miles in the gym, and literally every song had me wanting to bang my head. And you know how hard it is for any band to get me to want to bang my head.
Wow. Listeners, I just want to put this out there, right? In all the years I've known my co-host, I don't think I've ever seen him bang his head.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. It's not in me. Except today, when I thought, do you know what? If I wasn't going to do myself a mischief on the running machine...
How did you manage to bang your head and run at the same time?
I had to resist the urge, but the urge was there. I was just completely knocked out. It's very different to the early Anthrax records. John Bush's voice is completely different to Joey's, and the songwriting has become much more sophisticated as well by this stage. But by sophisticated, I don't mean bland or wimpolar. It's just more interesting, in my opinion. Probably less thrashy, which is probably why it appeals to me as well. There is a song on there called Safe Home. It's an absolute banger. Absolutely loved it. And the other thing I have to say, obviously because I'm sucking up to my friend Charlie, the drumming on this album is just, to quote a friend of ours, it's off the scale.
Is it?
It's off the scale. There's a song called Nobody Knows Anything. Oh, man, the drumming on it is just...
Do you not send him our podcasts?
I sent him it the other day. He didn't reply. That's how big a friend he is. But I'm going to send him this one because we're talking about this album. And I've also bigged up his drumming and said it's the greatest undiscovered thrash stroke hard rock album out there. And the other thing you need to know, Hunnsy,
yes,
2 songs. One called, slightly saucily, Strap It On. Ow, that hurts.
Oh.
and one called Cadillac Rockbox feature Dimebag on guitar.
Ah, okay.
And even more incredible,
there's
a song called Taking the Music Back.
Right.
It features a very, very, very famous singer. And I don't think you'll be able to guess it.
Can I see if I can do it in 5 questions?
Yeah, but promise me you're not just tapping
I'm not.
Wikipedia. Okay.
I'm not.
5 questions.
Is this singer American?
No.
Is this singer still alive?
Yes.
Is this singer known to be a singer of a rock band?
Yes. You've only got 2 left already. It's gone quick, hasn't it?
Is this singer British?
Yes.
Do I like the band that he sings for?
Oh, I would very much suspect yes.
Okay. Is it Ian Gillan?
No, it's not Ian Gillan.
Who is it?
None other than Roger. I've sacked my drummer, then reinstated him. I had to listen to it just before we came on to see if I could figure out what he was doing. I think he might have just been doing some sort of shouty bits, but I couldn't really work out exactly where he was. Maybe Charlie will enlighten me.
Are there any whoa-whoas in it? Maybe he was just doing whoa-whoas.
He could have been doing the whoa-whoas. Yeah. So Dimebag's on it. Roger Daltrey's on it.
Yeah.
They're in absolute blistering form. Anthrax. The riffs are killer. Charlie's drumming. OTS.
Off the scale.
Yeah. And I'd just say, if you don't know this record, there's no shame in that. Prior to about 4 days ago, after I spoke to Charlie, and I had an urge to go back and listen to some of the John Bush era because I really liked what I knew. Then I started listening to this record and went, wowzer! I really like Volume 8 that I talked about many moons ago. But
Yeah.
This is also splendiferous. I really think that those records they've made with John Bush are amongst some of the very best in that style of music. And they get very little credit for it.
I've got to go and do the school run in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's your perfect opportunity.
I'm going to stick it on, definitely. And when my daughter gets in the car and attempts to basically put her music on, which is some god-awful rap music, I'm just going to go, no, we're listening to this.
Yeah. Fuck off. We're listening to... Oh, no,
well, I'm not going to say...
The gods have been smiling on us today because we both went for thrash records. You went for a really, really well-known one, but I went for one that's very obscure. I'm putting it up against Ride the Lightning. Imagine that.
Wow, it's a bold statement. But I'm going to give it a listen and come back to you and give you my view.
Well, I think that's about time we wrapped up. But what a weird day, Hunnsy? Both of us picking thrash albums.
What will it be next week? What will it be?
That's the joy, though, isn't it? You never know what's coming next. Could be Sleep Token, could be Anthrax. All right, mister, good luck on the school run.
Cheers, mate. I'll see you there.
Speak to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.